Welcome. Thank you for coming to practice with me. So today's practice, if you read the invitation, yoga for digestion. Yeah, we're in the midst of holidays here, maybe perhaps heavier meals. So using the practice in a way that augments, aids digestion could be very practical. And you might be thinking, well, I kind of know where this is headed. We're going to be doing some folding, hinging, forward folding to compress the abdomen, or we're going to be doing some twisting. And those things we certainly will do. They have their benefits, but there are two other things that may be even more beneficial that are often overlooked. And that is breathing, movement of the diaphragm. And before I go into the practice with that, just a little bit of mechanics of movement of the diaphragm. First of all, lungs. The lung tissue roughly follows the outline of your rib cage. So, yeah, if you probably are quite aware, ribs are up here in front, and they terminate a little bit higher, and in back, they come down quite a bit more. They're way down here as opposed to up here. So the tissue of your lungs roughly follows the outline, the pattern of your diaphragm. And that being said, there's more lung tissue in the back than there is in the front. And the diaphragm, movement of the diaphragm kind of augments that spatial relationship. So if this hand was the front of my ribs, right by my sternum here, and this hand was my diaphragm, when you inhale, front of the diaphragm doesn't move very much. It's more movement middle to back. And there are a couple of reasons for that. One of the primary reasons is that in order to make that movement, there are two little muscles that attach to the diaphragm and run down the back of your body, close to the spine, called the cura, C-U-R-A, cura of the diaphragm. And that pulling action of the cura is what moves middle of the diaphragm, back of the diaphragm, more than front of the diaphragm. And it, by association, moves back of the rib cage more than it moves front of the rib cage. One other thing about cura of the diaphragm, they do something very special. Where they meet up with other muscle tissue, specifically psoas muscle, deep hip flexor muscle, they do something special that's called interdigitation. The fibers actually meld with each other so that they're indistinguishable. So 4 things to remember, well, maybe 3. Tissue of the lungs roughly follows outline of the rib cage. Movement of the diaphragm occurs more in middle to back of the diaphragm. And that's due to those 2 little muscles in back, cura of the diaphragm, that interdigitate with psoas muscle. And for all those reasons, we're going to focus on breathing in the back of your body. In order to do that, we're going to start out using a strap right away. And often I say, you can grab something handy, doesn't have to be a yoga strap, could grab a kitchen towel. So just to prove that you can do it, here I have a kitchen towel. And that's what I'm going to use today. All right, coming up onto your feet. And standing with the strap or kitchen towel around your back over those low back ribs. You can kind of feel where those ribs are, putting the towel around the ribs and then pulling forward on the 2 ends of the towel. And then on an inhale, a slightly longer inhale. Lengthen the inhale. Feel how that pushes back of the ribs, those low back ribs, into the strap. Just as important how on the exhale, they release back forward. So just breathing a few times, lengthening your breathing, longer breathing, more volume in your breathing. Filling those back ribs, back lung tissue. And then along the way, letting shoulder blades and collarbones move with the inhale, so that on the inhale, low ribs move into the strap, collarbones come up, shoulder blades, they kind of move too, they actually move up a little bit, but around the side of your rib cage a little bit too. So this particular movement of the diaphragm, something we're augmenting today by way of accessing a bit more movement in the internal organs. All right. Once you've got a feeling for that, inhale into the back low ribs. You can let that strap, that towel go, dropping it, but keeping it close by. We'll use it again in just a few moments to reinforce that feeling. And now, full deep inhale without the towel. Inhaling into the low back ribs, volume of inhale. Moving collarbones and shoulder blades. Just as important, exhale. Things come forward. Let's add more movement to that, but rather than adding the movement on the inhale, let's keep our awareness of back breathing on the inhale by moving on the exhale. So next time a full deep inhale comes around, exhale, sweeping your arms up, lifting your heels. Inhale back. And if you find that on that inhale, you kind of round forward a bit, kind of like more of a comma shape than an exclamation point shape. You're doing it exactly right. Exhale up, inhale down. Just a couple more. And next time you come down, pause there. We'll see if we can keep that access to back body breathing going by bending over, hands on knees, hips coming back. And a full deep inhale right here, right into those low back ribs. It moves collarbones and shoulder blades, promotes that comma shape. And then on the exhale, things coming forward invites a bit of a look up, a lift up. Inhale, rounding, comma shape, back breathe. Exhale, going the other way. Next time you exhale, let's straighten our legs, come all the way up. And then round on the inhale, coming all the way down. This time when you come down, let's go all the way down, hands to the floor. Full deep inhale into the back ribs. Exhale right here, bit of a lift. One more of those. Full deep inhale, low back ribs expand. Exhale, bit of a look up, a lift up. All right. Inhale upside down. Then we'll come to hands and knees. Hands a little bit forward of your shoulders, headed for, you guessed it, downward facing dog. Well, there's something a little bit different when we get there. But first of all, just curling your toes under, bringing hips up and back, keeping your knees bent. Nice deep bend in the knees. So we want to keep that breathing into the back body going. One way to do that is to take awareness away from the front of the body by relaxing your toes. Toes relax, they just rest on the floor. The same thing with fingers. Fingers, rather than pushing, spreading, just let them rest. So the roots of the fingers take the weight. Balls of the feet take the weight. Now, one big full inhale into the back of the body. Exhale, coming on down. All right. Keeping your hands right where they are. Let's just move our knees back a few inches. Oh, 3-4 inches. Toes pointed straight out behind you, and then bringing hips forward so that knees, hips, shoulders, and ears align. Pushing down lightly through the top of your feet to engage the front of your body, abdominal muscles. And then a bit of a lift to your chest, your gaze. Kind of a mini up dog right here. Yeah. Freeing up, accessing cura of the diaphragm and psoas muscle. Full deep inhale right here. Exhale, pushing all the way back to child's pose. A little bit more accessible now. Bent over to let that inhale inflate those low back ribs. Move the shoulder blades and collarbones. All right. Coming seated for a moment. And then coming on to your back with drawing your knees into your chest. And feel how that imprints lower back into the floor. Let's just take a full deep inhale right here into those low ribs that are now on the floor. Exhale right here. All right. Keeping the right leg in, extend the left leg out all the way along the floor, and then reach in behind that bent leg, right leg, to grab the hamstring and draw that leg, that knee, not straight in, a little bit more towards that right shoulder. Go to the side a bit. So traditional yoga pose right here, Ekapada Vajrasana, sometimes called wind releasing pose. Yeah, you might guess how that might be good for digestion. Just another full deep back of the body breath here. And then we're going to use that bent leg as a lever to pull us up, coming up in a sit-up, and then rounding all the way back down. So here's that other aspect, often overlooked aspect. How about on an exhale, we let that lever of the right leg draw us up and to sit up and come back down, toning the abdominal muscles, because digestion, nourishment from what we ingest is really a three-step process. It's digestion, it's ingestion, digestion, and yeah, you guessed it, elimination. And that's where tone and elasticity in the abdominal muscles helps quite a bit with that last phase, elimination. All right, let's switch legs. So bringing the other leg in, drawing it in towards your shoulder more than into the center. Back of the body breathe. Feeling how the ribs spread out onto the floor on the inhale. Just as important, they release on the exhale. And then using this bent leg as a lever to on an exhale, draw you up into a sit-up, then back down. Just a couple more. We'll do a total of 3 on this side. Toning abdominal muscles as a way to assist. Yeah, no other way to say it. Elimination. All right. Next thing, you come back on down, then draw on both knees in and separating your knees, bringing the heels of your feet together. A little bit more abdominal work, but not all that much. We'll go up and down 3 times. So on it. Inhale. Back of the body spreads into the floor, legs come up. Exhale. Wings release, feet come down. So you kind of getting the idea here? Even in these back on the floor poses, breathing into the back body. All right. And now let's just keep those knees drawn in for a moment, enjoying how the full inhale not only moves shoulder blades and collarbones, spreads the ribs into the floor. Let's roll to one side, come up onto hands and knees. Just a brief visit here to cat pose, cow pose. But with that same breathing movement rhythm, it would be inhale into the low back ribs to round your back up towards the ceiling. Exhale to drop your lower back and look up a bit. One more of those. Full deep inhale. Go in the other way, belly drop and exhale. And stepping forward. Full deep inhale right here. Exhale, bit of a lift. One more full deep inhale that not only inflates back, but moves shoulder blades, collarbones. There you go. Exhale, swooping all the way up. Arms to the side. Okay. So we've done a couple of things already to activate, tone abdominal muscles. Next movement here is primarily to engage pelvic floor muscles, to aid that part of digestion elimination. Before we begin, we'll just start with feet wide, toes slightly pointed out, and bringing a little bit more weight to your forefoot by lifting the heels of your feet. And feel how that engages your hamstring muscles. Hamstring muscles engaged. Let's keep heels light, just barely touching the floor. And then with hands on your abdomen, on an exhale, bending at knees, hips, and ankles, taking your seat behind you. Feel how that engages lower abdominal muscles. Inhale, coming back up. So via the hamstring muscles, engaging lower abdominal muscles. As a study, a path to aid digestion. All right. Next time you come down, pausing there, bringing hands to heart. Now more directly accessing pelvic floor muscles by lifting the heel of your right foot, keeping it lifted, lifting the heel of your left foot. And now setting the heel of that right foot down, slow, smooth, steady to the count of 3, 2, 1. Tap and lift. And now the other foot. Left heel, 3, 2, 1. Tap and lift. And now both heels descend slow, smooth. 3, 2, 1. Keeping those heels light as you inhale, coming back up. Stepping your feet together. Pausing for just a moment. And if that strap, that towel is anywhere handy nearby, let's just revisit, reaffirm that sensation. Towel around your low back ribs. Drawing the ends of the strap, the towel forward. So there's some pressure back there, a little feedback so you can feel on the inhale how, yep, for sure, low back ribs, they expand, and on the exhale, they release, they come forward. And just as important with that inhale, collarbones lift, shoulder blades, they come up and around the side of your rib cage. All right. Let's head for the floor by way of a sun salutation again. But remember, we do the movement on the exhale so we can keep our awareness on that back breathing inhale. Inhale. Exhale, sweeping up. Inhale, folding. Bit of a lift, exhale. Hands and knees, inhale. Downward facing dog. Remember dog pose, how we bring awareness to the back body is by relaxing the toes and the fingers. Fingers and toes relax, invites more awareness into that back of the body, full deep inhale. Exhale, coming on down the hands and knees. Moving the knees back a little bit. Bringing the hips forward a little bit. Aligning knees, hips, shoulders, and ears. And here's where we begin to work with that deep hip flexor muscle, psoas muscle, cura of the diaphragm, because they interdigitate. The state of one affects the state of the other. Yeah, on an inhale right here. Lifting chest, gazing forward. There's that mini up dog. Beginning to open, release. Psoas muscle, cura of the diaphragm. And by association, the diaphragm itself. All right. Coming back to hands. Pushing all the way back to child's pose. Opening the back ribs like opening an umbrella. Ribs separate. Exhale. Collapsing the umbrella. Coming on forward, stepping forward, forward. Full deep inhale. Sweeping up, exhale. Arms to the side. Okay. So headed for more traditional yoga pose right here. And that would be chair pose. But the same movements, the same breathing patterns we've been practicing all along. Let's just bring hands to hips. And on an exhale, moving your hips back behind you to come into chair pose. And here's where we get to augment that breathing into the back. Full deep inhale, reaching arms forward. Letting shoulder blades slide forward. Exhale, arms up. Full deep inhale right here. Next exhale, pushing down to come up. All right. One more of those, a little bit faster. Exhale, hips come back, chair pose. Inhale, arms reaching, shoulder blades slide. Exhale, arms up overhead. Standing up, coming. Yeah, you guessed it. Here comes the twist. So we've got quite a few elements going here now, don't we? How about hands to heart this time? Hands to heart. Exhale, bending knees, chair pose. Left hand to right knee. Right hand comes behind, but you know what? Rather than hand way back here on the sacrum, how about hand up a little bit higher, almost up to those back ribs, so that when you do this twist, and the inhale, you can kind of feel those low back ribs moving with your breathing. Breathing into the back of the body. Full deep inhale. Exhale, coming forward. Inhale, reaching. Exhale, arms up, coming up. Going to the other side. So you stay where you are. I'm just going to turn so that I don't look away from you. Exhale, knees bending, seat comes back. Oh. Then it's right hand to left knee, left hand comes behind, but rather than down here, up here just a bit. Coming into the twist, and here we are, we're in a fold, we're in a twist, and we're breathing into the back body. Holy cats. All of that benefit to aid digestion. Exhale, coming on forward. Inhale, reaching. Exhale, arms up, coming up. Let's see here. Just going to check my notes to make sure I'm on track. So this is where the chair might come in handy. We're headed for a pose we haven't done for quite a while. Triangle pose. When we come into that triangle pose, it's perfectly okay to have that chair handy so that rather than one hand down, hand could go to the seat of the chair. I'm going to leave my chair right there so you can see what I mean when we get there. But you know what? Before we go, we're going to revisit this experience one more time with the strap on the back, on the low back ribs. Because when we get into triangle pose, there's a lot of things going on. It's easy to lose touch with that back of the body breathing. Let's just do a couple breaths right here. Full deep inhale. Collarbones, shoulder blades, low back ribs. Everything moving in harmony. Really coming into that Kama body shape. Rounding bit, just a bit forward. All right. Ready for triangle pose? Taking a wide stride. Right toes turn in. Left toes turn out. And maybe positioning that chair so that it's just outside of that forward foot, left foot. Out there somewhere, hand. All right. And then on an exhale, bending that front knee, left knee. Next exhale, tipping at your hips. And here's where you can either bring hand to shin or hand to seat in the chair. All right. And then taking that other arm up in the air, free arm, right arm reaching up. So that front leg is still bent, isn't it? We're not quite there at triangle. Beginning to straighten that front leg as if you were going to draw your hips out of your chest. Back of the body, breathing. Back of the body, breathing. Might free up the shoulder blade that's on that upper arm, reaching up arm. So that it reaches up just a little bit higher. Turning your gaze to look towards the floor. Let's not overdo. Bending the front knee, bringing that upper arm down, pushing down. Pausing right here. So we did a bit of a fold there. Well, kind of a one-sided fold. We could do just a little bit more. We can add a twist. So twisting triangle. Let's give it a try. With the chair there for a little bit of added stability if needed. Exhale, bending the front knee. Next exhale, tipping at your hips. So hand in the same position it was in before, either on your shin or on the chair. And here's the new part, the added part, different part. Letting your chest, your torso turn towards the floor and letting this hip turn towards the floor as well. And now, left hand was on the chair, switching hands. Right hand comes on the chair, left hand comes on your hip. Rotating, twisting. Aryavarta Trikonasana. If that leg isn't straightened a little bit already, beginning to straighten it just a bit. You might think, well, torso is rotating one direction. My legs, they ought to rotate that same direction. What would happen if you took your legs, your thighs, your knees, and rotated them away from the direction that your gaze is looking? So looking one way. Legs roll, there you go, rotate the other way. Full deep inhale, back of the body. Exhale, unwinding, coming out. Bending the front knee, pushing down to come up. All right, stepping your feet together. Yeah. So remember the invitation. Way back when I said, not only need to digest your food in order to nourish your being, you need to digest your experience. Here's an experience. Checking in left side, right side. Yeah. Things a little bit out of balance. Wouldn't be surprising. Rather than thinking there needs to be an adjustment, a balancing out, just a few moments here abiding with, digesting this particular experience. Asymmetry. All right, let's go to the other side. So triangle pose on the other side. I'm just going to move my chair so I don't look away from you. And that chair again, when I get into triangle pose is going to be just to the outside, just to the outside of that forward foot. So let's start with a wide stride. Right toes turn out, left toes turn in. Chair is placed pretty much where it'll be helpful if you need it. Exhale, bending that front knee. Next exhale, tipping at your hip. So we're headed for traditional yoga or triangle pose right here. So now it's either hand on the shin or hand on the seat of the chair. Taking that free arm, left arm up towards the ceiling. And now beginning to straighten the front leg. To draw hips out of your rib cage. Remember back of the body breathing. So that upper arm reaching up arm. What if a full deep back of the body inhale allowed the shoulder blade to push that upper arm a little higher? Just an inch or so. Maybe even less, half an inch. All right, turning your gaze to look at the floor. One more. Back of the body breath. Imparting that bit of comma shape to the torso. Exhale, bending the front leg, bringing the arm down, pushing down to come up. Coming up, stand right here. So we're headed for the triangle twist on this side. Begins by bending the front knee and then tipping at your hips. And here's the different part, the twist part, letting your torso and your hip come around towards the floor. So now it's an opposite hand. In this case, left hand either comes to your shin or to the seat of the chair. Right hand on the hip. And then beginning to straighten that front leg, drawing hips out of your rib cage. Coming a little bit more into the twist. Not the deepest twist ever. Remember what we're going for here is a fold, a twist, and the back of the body. Breathe. If you want a little more of an experiment, it would be rather than thighs and knees rotating in the direction that you're looking, rotate them the other way. Yep. They were going to go back behind you. Rotating away from the direction, there you go, you're looking. Just a breath here. Last one, full deep back of the body breath. Exhale, bending that front knee, unwinding, coming on out, pushing down to come up, stepping your feet together. Yeah, just a moment here to reassess, digest this experience. Yeah. Don't know what it is like for you. Of course, everyone's experience is a little bit different. For me, I'm feeling kind of light, upright. Even breathing a little bit easier. All right, let's set the chair aside. Done with the chair for this practice. But not quite done with the towel yet. We're going to head for the floor. We're going to use the towel, the yoga strap on the floor. But before we get there, let's do a sun salutation and implement all those things you've worked on so far. So remember, it starts with the inhale. And to sweep up on the exhale. Inhale, fold. Opening that umbrella of the back of the body. Exhale. Collapsing the umbrella. Come into hands. Curling toes up. Hips come up and back. Awareness in the back of your body, aided by relaxing your toes. Toes, pads of the toes, just rest on the floor. Roots of the toes, balls of the feet take more, if not all of them. But the same thing in your hair, you go in your hands. Fingers gotta relax. Not spreading, not pushing, not gripping. Roots of it, there you go. Roots of the fingers. Now a back of the body breath. Last one. Exhale, coming on down. All right. Let's step forward with the right foot. Straighten that back leg. And come up to forearms on thigh. And then hands, heart. So these particular movements, strengthening, toning, activating psoas muscle, and by association, cure of the diaphragm itself, pushing down to straighten that front leg. Coming all the way up torso, straight, vertical. And then on an exhale, bending that front knee. Yeah. Inhale, arms reaching, shoulder blades sliding. Exhale, arms up overhead. Inhale, sweep arms back on down. Come into hands. Knees. Curling your toes under, bringing hips up and back. Here's another opportunity to digest an experience of asymmetry. Full deep inhale, back of the body, inhale. Exhale, hands and knees. Other foot coming forward, left foot coming forward. Straightening the back leg. Coming up, forearms to thigh. And then aligning torso with the angle of your back foot. Hands to heart. Pushing down to come up, straightening that front leg. Torso vertical. And then bending the front knee. Yeah. Just like we've done before. On the reach, an inhale that moves the back ribs, shoulder blades, and collarbone. Exhale, arms up overhead. Inhale, sweep all the way down. Come into hands and knees. Curling toes under. Downward facing dog. Using dog bones. In essence, to test, to have this experience and digest an experience. What does it feel like having done lunge on both sides? All right, hands and knees. And then coming seated for just a moment. Remember I said we were going to use that strap, that towel on the floor. Here it comes. We're going to use it right now. So bring in that strap, that towel, where we've used it all through this practice, onto those low back ribs. There you go. And yeah, pulling forward a little bit on the ends. Coming onto your back with knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor. Just feeling for a moment how the full deep inhale draws ribs into the towel, into the floor. And the exhale releases back ribs up towards the ceiling. Next time you do that inhale, follow that inclination by lifting your hips, completing the inhale as hips come up into reach pose, and exhale coming right back on down. So getting a bit of a cramp in my right leg. Yeah, that happens to yoga teachers too. All right, inhale, low ribs descending, hips lifting, coming up. And exhale, coming on back on down. Just one more, last one. Yeah, I'm pulling up quite a bit here on my back strap. Inhale, ribs expanding, descending, hips rising. Exhale, hips descending, ribs ascending. All right, setting the towel aside. Done with the towel for now. Rolling to one side. Coming up seated. We've done a little bit of twisting so far. A little bit more twisting right here. Coming seated with feet separated. And then reaching forward with your left hand. Reaching behind with your right hand. Behind hand, fingertips pointing away from. And then on an exhale, just tipping your knees. Knees tipping to bring you around into a twist. Reaching behind. Back of the body, breathing. Exhale, sweeping back on out. And staying right here. Hands stay where they are, feet stay where they are. So going back into that twist one more time, but this time, rather than tipping your knees, push with your feet. Feet pushing to bring you into the twist. Perhaps you've already felt how that engages abdominal muscles. So we've got darn near all of the elements we worked on so far, right here in this pose. Back of the body, breathing. Lower ribs expanding. Shoulder blades, collarbones moving. Abdominal muscles engaged. Bit of a twist. Next exhale, using your feet pushing down to come up. Let's go to the other side. So, left hand reaches forward, right hand comes behind. And going into this twist with just the knees tipping to the side. Knees tipping, brings you around, comes around. All right. Full deep inhale. Imparts that comma shape to your torso. Exhale, unwinding, coming back on out. Yeah, just like we did on the other side. Now, rather than knees tipping or rising, it's pushing from your feet. Feet pushing to tip your knees to bring you into the twist, activating abdominal muscle. Back of the body, inhale. Feet pushing to come out, exhale. All right. So, by way of working on abdominal muscles to complete the digestive process, headed for traditional yoga pose, boat pose, but one stop before we get there. And that is this kind of a leaning back, feet flat on the floor, arms reaching forward, and then arms coming over to the side, up, over. So abdominal muscles working, oblique muscles working, even a little bit of a fold here in this seated position. What would happen if you did a full deep back of the body? Inhale. As you come up and exhale as you go over. Last one. All right. Boat pose. Hands behind your thighs, up by your knees. Leaning back just a little bit farther and lifting those feet just a few inches off the ground. So no doubt abdominal muscles engaged here. If you'd like a little bit more engagement, that would be bringing heels together. Straightening your leg just a bit. And now, if you'd like even more challenge, that would be letting go of the legs. Holding for 3, 2, 1. All right, release. Coming on up. Okay. Crossing your legs. Headed for simple seated twist. Yeah, but those of you who know me by now know can't be that simple. We've worked on a particular theme here. Let's keep that theme going. So heading into this twist, doing something particular with your feet. So right now, legs are crossed, feet are relaxed. What would happen if you flexed your feet, drew your toes toward your knees? Feel how that engages lower abdominal muscles. Yeah, with that light engagement in the lower abdomen, feet flexed. Left hand to right knee, right hand comes behind. On an exhale, twisting. Yeah, you guessed it. Perhaps it's even a pattern by now, it's even a default. Back of the body, breathe. Imparts a bit of a comma shape to the torso. Exhale, releasing, coming all the way up. Going to the other side. Let's just rest for a moment. Let those feet relax. And then drawing toes towards your knees, flexing your feet to lightly engage abdominal muscle. Right hand to left knee. Left hand comes behind. Exhale, twisting. Many of the elements that aid digestion right here. All you have to do to amplify those, nudge them towards more nutritious use of not only food, but everyday experiences. Bit of back body breathing. One more full deep inhale. Exhale, releasing out, coming up. Okay. So, coming onto your back. Knees bent. Soles of the feet on the floor. Letting an inhale move low back ribs towards the floor. Now drawing these into chest and see how that feedback of the floor allows you to bring more awareness to that back of the body, breathing that for most of us happens in a little bit less than optimal way. And now with knees drawn in quite a ways, rotating, coming over onto your side like you were going to sleep on your side with knees really pretty tightly drawn out. Taking lower arm and reaching it out in front of you, opening your torso, taking the other arm up and over, and reaching it out suspended off the floor. So what effect would the back of the body breathing have right here on movement of that outstretched arm off the forearm and the shoulder? Yeah, you guessed it. The full deep back of the body breath pulls that arm, that shoulder up towards the ceiling just a bit. And the exhale releases it back down towards the floor. So here we are continuing our theme. Let's follow that inclination of the back of the body breath by a full deep inhale. Now bringing that arm all the way back over, coming to meet the other hand, going to the other side, rolling to the other side. You can just roll over. I'm going to switch so I don't look away from you. Remember, it's those knees drawn up quite a ways. Knees drawn up as far as you can draw them, as close as you can get them to your chest. Yeah. Exaggerated fold and twist. Back of the body breathing. Back of the body breathing that moves that stretched out arm, reaching out arm off the floor. Inhale that moves it up towards the ceiling. Exhale that releases it, comes back down a bit. All right. Follow that next movement with the inhale. Bring that arm all the way over. And then just rolling onto your back, coming onto your back. Soles of the feet on the floor. Just a few moments left here for a particular breathing practice. So we've done this back of the body breathing. But there's an ancient aspect, traditional practice, and that would be with the inhale, exhale themselves. If you're not congested, breathing in through your nose, letting that inhale land heavy on your tongue. Slide down the back of your windpipe into that place we've been breathing, back of the body. And the exhale leaves by the same route from beneath your shoulder blades, up the back of the throat, heavy on your tongue, out through your nose. So it's a time of year for congestion. If congestion is where you are today, parting your lips lightly and breathing in and out there. Still that air comes in and lands heavy on your tongue. Slides down the back of your windpipe. Leaves by the same route. Again, heavy on your tongue. Out through your nose or mouth. Last one, final breath. And then just ordinary breathing, everyday breathing, no special breathing. Moment here, digest what you've just experienced for the last hour or so. What the heck does that mean? Well, truth be told, it means something a little bit different to all of us. Simply being aware that you are digesting the experience helps the process. All right. Eyes are closed. Opening your eyes. And if knees are not already bent, bending your knees, drawing them in towards your chest. Just a moment here to feel back ribs on the floor. Before you roll to one side, push up and come seated. I'll wait just a moment for everyone to come seated here. And then we're going to follow that same pattern we've done before. We often sweep up on an inhale, don't we? Let's do it the other way around, just to reinforce that pattern. Full deep inhale into the back body first. Then exhale, sweeping up. Hands to the heart, inhale. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me.